Hey guys, hello and welcome back to another Star Wars video. So today we're going to be talking about something which is honestly a bit controversial because I know Star Wars fans are going to have an array of different opinions about this, and it concerns a character which I've spoken about a lot, Mara Jade, and the question of if she should be brought into Star Wars canon under Disney. With Star Wars Starfighter coming next year, there are fans who are convinced that Amy Adams, who is confirmed for the movie, is going to be playing the expanded universe fan favourite. I honestly doubt it, and if they were to adapt a character like this, it wouldn't be one for one. It's a very similar situation with Darth Talon and Devon Azara from the Maul show. I don't think we're ever getting a literal Darth Talon, and in the same way, I don't think we're ever getting a Mara Jade, and this has actually now been confirmed. This is a breaking story which has been making the rounds, and it comes from Slashfilm.com. Star Wars executives refuse to let writers bring one beloved character back. That's right, my friends. These conversations have taken place. When Disney purchased Lucasfilm in 2012, so much changed. In terms of the books and comics from the expanded universe, they were relegated to Star Wars Legends. And while it's true that certain characters have been brought back, for the most part, if you're talking about canonicity, those stories no longer count. And anytime this is brought up, it does attract a really impassioned fan debate, because you have fans who say, well, the old content was never canon. Then there are those who bring up comments from George Lucas where he said parts of the expanded universe did count. I've spoken to authors like Michael Stackpole who said, at the time, they were writing canon. So there is no universally agreed upon view on Legends. In my opinion, and I've said this to you guys in the past, if you enjoy a story, whether it's from the old days of the expanded universe or a recent canon Star Wars book, if it's part of the subjective reader's headcanon, then it should count. For me, it's books like Cloak of Deception, Darth Plagueis, the MedStar series, the Coruscant Night series. There are so many books that to me count. They're just as canon as some of the shows and my favorite Star Wars movies. Even if Disney does not acknowledge them, choose what you like, discard the stuff you don't. And I'll be the first to admit, just like with some of the Disney content, there is expanded universe material which I think is just pure trash, just awful writing. But in terms of doing something significant with expanded universe characters, since the acquisition, Lucasfilm has taken big steps. The largest I would say is in Star Wars Rebels, and later Ahsoka, re-canonizing Thrawn, Timothy Zahn writing a canon Thrawn trilogy, and the Chiss appearing in Star Wars Rebels, Tales of the Empire and Ahsoka. But I would say right next to Thrawn, someone who fans have been asking to be brought back is Mara Jade, Luke Skywalker's once villainous wife. Created by Timothy Zahn as part of the Heir to the Empire trilogy, she quickly became a fan favourite. And to this day, especially now that Dave Filoni's in charge, fans want to know, are there plans to bring her into some upcoming stories? Not just in books, not just relegated to the EU, but in canon and on our screens, in an upcoming Mandoverse project, or one of the feature films. And on this very channel, I've spoken about ways they can bring Mara Jade into Luke's story before his exile on Ahch-To, maybe losing his wife before episode 7 contributed to his depression. So it wasn't just the events of losing Ben Solo to the dark side, but also something with Mara. And like I say guys, theories like this are still popular to this day. I think there's a real hunger for Legends characters. The only problem is, my friends, and this is today's update, Lucasfilm said no. And this is confirmed by two famous authors. During the MegaCon 2026 panel writing the Star Wars universe, author Claudia Gray admits that she actually asked Lucasfilm, can I include Mara Jade in a couple of books? And their response, no. And she emphasizes it wasn't just a light no, it was a stern, definitive no. Not just a no, not for the moment, let's wait and see. It was no, you're not touching the character of Mara Jade. And Claudia Gray is not the only author who proposed this. The creator of Mara Jade himself, Timothy Zahn, was also in attendance, and he said, quote, I asked them too. Their answer was somewhere between no and heck no. I don't know if this was under Kathy that he asked the question, but I would wager when you're talking about the creative side, it was probably Dave, who just like his mentor George, probably doesn't like Mara Jade very much. I know some of that was exaggerated, it became a recurring joke, a bit, but he didn't like the concept of Luke having a wife. But in terms of the way these authors have responded, I do have a couple of thoughts on this. It confirms something I've been talking about for 2 or 3 years, that Filoni clearly has been inspired by the Thrawn trilogy for his Mandoverse, but it was never going to be a clean one-for-one. That's why you're seeing other characters from The Mandalorian, from Rebels coming into live action, fill the roles that some of those Legends characters played. Even if we do see Luke once again, or Han and Leia in Ahsoka Season 2, unlike in Timothy Zahn's work, they're not the centre of what Dave Filoni is doing. Those roles are reserved for the likes of Hera, Ahsoka, Seb, Ezra, and others. It's a different kind of adaptation. And remember guys, there were rumours for Ahsoka Season 2 that Ezra has a love interest, someone who starts out as a villain. Dave Filoni might have conceptualized his own Mara Jade. It's a bit like the way the Grey Mothers fill the role of Sabayoth. Filoni is drawing upon archetypes, but not the literal characters themselves. They don't have the same names, appearances, in some cases they're not the same species. Lucasfilm under Disney is doing something very different, and they are very selective in terms of which characters make it back into canon and which ones don't. I've spoken in great depth about the characters who have returned, like I said, Thrawn, Pelion, Rook, Jax, although this connection is very vague. Shizor, Tagan Bink, Jackson, Zorba, Tirasar is another one, as well as Nkata del Gormo, the Jedi Master of Yoda himself. So I don't agree with those who say that Lucasfilm has no consideration for the expanded universe, but they're extremely selective, and sometimes they just draw upon a certain aesthetic, a certain character design, or a name. But now we know from these authors that there is in fact a blacklist, a list of characters which are just a no-go. You're not going to see them in canon, they're not going to be brought back. Enjoy them in their original medium, in the pages of what is now known as Star Wars Legends. And I should also say, my friends, I have seen Expanded Universe and Mara Jade fans who are relieved by this update. Those who believe good riddance, they're glad Lucasfilm is not going to touch them because they think they would ruin the character. And to an extent, I agree. So far, I would say the majority of characters who were brought back have been very watered down. So even though we might get a Mara Jade adjacent character at some point, Ahsoka's second season looks like a likely place for that. It isn't going to be a literal ginger Jedi called Mara Jade, and she is not going to be Luke's love interest. I don't think Disney wants to rock the boat in that department. Like I say, even if Luke comes back, as he did in Mando and Book of Boba Fett, they're pretty dead set on making his story connect to The Force Awakens. I hate to say it, but I don't think there are any more surprises in store for him. He's not Dave Filoni's priority. If the original trio do make cameos, they're really just there for the purpose of fanfare, and not much else. The only exception is if the rumors are true, and they do something really out of the blue in Star Wars Starfighter further down the line. Does Luke, now as a Force Ghost, have a post-Episode 9 legacy we didn't know about? But what do you guys think? Would you have wanted to see Mara Jade come into canon at some point? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and may the Force be with you, always.